Hello, my name is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and this is a review of the markets. I'm recording this on 4/12/2026. The markets will be open in Asia tonight. I'm recording this in the morning, New York time. All right. So before we go over the market, please help support the work that I do by making sure that you subscribe to all my channels. I have YouTube, Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. All the links are in the description. You can also donate on my website, the-studio-reykjavik.com. At the bottom of the homepage, shown here, you can donate through Stripe, PayPal, or buy me a coffee. It is through your donations and you sharing the links that helps me to reach an audience so I can explain what's going on in the market, what's going on in the news, how it may affect you, and also how to improve your health and wellness. You can also watch my broadcasts live under Broadcast Live, and you can also watch, or listen, I should say, listen to my audio archives under broadcast radio. I also have generated news that gets published on broadcast paper. In addition, I have classes on pulmonology and immunology that you can sign up for just $25. You get lots of PDFs and videos that you can watch at your leisure as many times as you want. You get a free password. You get a unique password is what I meant. You get a unique password and then you just log in, type in the password that you get after you purchase, and you can see the content. You get lots of content. You learn a lot of stuff about immunology and pulmonology. So take a look at those classes. But I also have ebooks about finance, genomics, artificial intelligence, endocrinology. And I have great supplements, such as the structural nanosilver toothpaste or the Max 35. They'll help to boost up your immune system. Or the gel, the structural nanosilver gels. I have it in the tube form and in the quick dispenser form. They're going to help you improve your skin, help heal a wound quicker. And if you're not feeling well or someone around you is not feeling well during the cold season, put it on your hands. They'll stay active for 5.5 hours. I have in stock two versions of the structural nanosilver soaps. You can get it in lemongrass and in peppermint. I also have structural nanosilver drops in blueberry, honey and lemon, cherry, and the lozenges, which are larger. You can get them in Manuka honey and orange splash vitamin C. All of them taste very good, and they have the structural nanosilver to help to mitigate a sore throat. I have the veggie probiotic and also the powder biotic on another page here, but this is the veggie probiotic. And getting a probiotic is really important for your gut biome. Cleanse, which is 30 parts per million structural nanosilver. It's very comparable to the Max 35, which is 35 parts per million. And the multivitamin, the complete multivitamin, this is very easy to digest. And it has the multivitamins that you need as a great foundation to build off of. It has the vitamin A, C, D3, E, B1, B2, B3, B4, folate, B12, biotin. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get those supplements. I also have C60. C60 is a very strong antioxidant. You take a teaspoon a day every day, and it'll soak up those free radicals. And by doing that, you're going to slow down the aging process, improve your immune system, your cardiovascular system, even your brain function. You can get it in a 2 ounce, a 4 ounce, or an 8 ounce configuration. You can get it in extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or MCT coconut oil. C60 has to be suspended in oil for proper absorption. You can get vitamin D3, which is going to help to build denser bone, help with your cardiovascular health, and help with gene expression. Vitamin C and magnesium helps with your immune system, your skin, and also your brain function. Magnesium is very important to take for brain function, and magnesium helps to improve the efficacy of vitamin D3. Omega-3 helps with cardiovascular health. Ashwagandha root helps you to control your cortisol levels and your blood glucose levels. This will help you to improve your immune system and your cardiovascular health. Goodnight formula has tryptophan, melatonin, GABA, and passion flower for you to get into the 3 to 5 cycles of REM sleep that you need to consolidate memory, to be well rested, and detoxify your central nervous system. Super important to take every night. The probiotics, like I mentioned before, this is the powdered version. Resveratrol will help with youthful gene expression, soak up free radicals, help the health of your mitochondria, boost up those energy levels. Resveratrol will also help to get rid of senescent cells, and resveratrol will help to improve your basal layer for your skin, so your skin improves. This stacks really well with C60. Vitamin B complex, the first 4 B vitamins in this complex will help with the electron transport chain to improve your concentrations of ATP so you have more energy. Your cellular metabolism will improve, and you'll be able to protect your neurons with vitamin B12. Turmeric will help to soak up those free radicals and bring down inflammation. Super important to slow down the aging process, improve your cardiovascular health, your brain function. A lot of people don't realize that if you bring down chronic inflammation and improve your cardiovascular system, you're going to improve your brain function. The magnesium and zinc, this will help with the immune system and your brain function. Lignans. Lignans will help soak up free radicals, bring down inflammation. It stacks really well with the turmeric and the ashwagandha. This will help with the immune system, your endocrine system, your cardiovascular system, brain function. It's really important. It will also help you with your joints. Collagen. Collagen will help with the skin, nails, and hair health. It'll improve your skin. Collagen stacks really well with the vitamin C. If you drink filtered water, the vitamin C will cross-link with the collagen and improve your dermal layer. Collagen also will help with musculature, bone density, super important, and help with joint health. Digestive enzyme complex will help you to break up carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids to reduce the load on your pancreas. Clarity factor will allow you to concentrate on tasks, get rid of that brain fog, and over time you are going to improve your positive neuroplasticity. You'll be able to think faster and have better memory. Olive leaf extract is dual purpose. It's going to boost up your immune system and help with your cardiovascular system. It brings down inflammation and helps you control your lipid profile. Zeolite is a great way to detoxify your body from heavy metals, toxins, and chemicals. Take 3 small drops underneath your tongue, drink filtered water, and this will bind to those toxins and allow you to urinate it out within 6 to 8 hours. And by doing that every day, what you're going to be able to do is detoxify your body, and your immune system and endocrine system will improve, and organ systems. Myotrol. Myotrol has polyphenols, flavonoids, and lignans to help with the gene expression to build muscle and maintain muscle. This is very important for individuals that are getting older and have a hard time building muscle and maintaining muscle. Myotrol will also help with the mitochondrial health, so you have more energy to maintain that muscle. And myotrol can be used also for people that are athletes, younger or older. It'll help you to build muscle for your sport. Make sure you do some resistance training and take the myotrol. And myotrol, by building up that muscle, you're producing myokines that are actually neuroprotective. So building muscle actually helps with brain function. Boomer Boost has 68 nutrients. I'll show you the compound profile here, but it is very comprehensive. All right. I'm not going to read all of these, but this is what you take every day. And what you're going to do is you're going to start noticing that you are slowing down the aging process. For individuals that have had chronic headaches, you'll probably notice that your chronic headaches are radically diminished. Now, Boomer Boost, what this will do is target a lot of different things. It's going to boost up your energy levels. It's going to rev up your metabolism. It's going to help with musculature, your cardiovascular health, and brain function. Slow down the aging process, boost up that immune system and endocrine system. Now, Gladiator barley and heirloom barley are similar, but let me tell you the similarities before the differences. Heirloom barley will help to detoxify your body, bring down inflammation, and soak up free radicals. Gladiator barley will do the same. Now, by detoxifying your body, bringing down inflammation and soaking up free radicals, you're going to be slowing down the aging process. You're going to be slowing down the inflammation that's causing disruption with your different organ systems, including your joints. So what by taking this every day, which is a month's supply, you're going to start noticing that your cardiovascular health is improving, your brain function is improving, your endocrine system and your immune system is improving because you're bringing down that inflammation and soaking up those free radicals. Now, Gladiator Barley will do all that, but it also allows you to gain strength. So if you're doing resistance training, it'll help you to build muscle. Now, a great stack to help build muscle is the Gladiator Barley with the Myotrol or the Gladiator Barley with the Boomer Boost or all three together. Now, taking the Boomer Boost with the Gladiator Barley or the Boomer Boost with the Heirloom Barley will also help you to control your A1C levels even more. You'll be able to help to control your A1C levels with the Boomer Boost, but by taking the Gladiator Barley and building muscle, that will get the max benefit of being able to control the A1C levels. Now, collagen is a supplement that will help to remodel your joints. And what it does is it basically blocks MMP3 and MMP13 to reduce the erosion of your joint. All right. And it also blocks EP4, which reduces the inflammation of the joint. Now, taking collagen also helps to use the collagen type 2 to rebuild your cartilage. ACAN to help with remodeling the cushioning of the joint. And collagen also helps with the glucosamine recruitment to help build the cartilage and the chondroitin to help with the cushioning of the joint. So if you want to reduce the erosion of the joint and help restore it, take the collagen. It's a great product. Now, I recommend that you take the collagen with the collagen. The collagen will give you the amino acids that you need to help to build up the joint, and the collagen will do the fine targeting and inhibit some of these enzymes that are causing erosion. If you have pain, either because of a pulled muscle or a sprain, a headache, a tension headache, even arthritis, this is a topical product where you just rub it on your skin and it'll relieve the pain within about 90 seconds. So if you have arthritis or muscle aches or even headaches, tension headaches, take this product. Now, if you're trying to reduce the pain because of arthritis, you can stack super strong relief with the collagen. Okay. Now, I have many anti-aging and longevity boxes. I'm not going to go through each one of them, but they're at different price points with different considerations, such as, the anti-aging advanced box has the Max 35, your choice of C60, vitamin D3, vitamin C and magnesium toothpaste, and the probiotic. Now, some of the longevity boxes, like the Longevity Boost box, this has the Boomer Boost and your choice of Gladiator or Heirloom Barley. So if you're picking the Gladiator Barley and the Boomer Boost together, it's cheaper actually to get the Longevity Boost box. So getting an anti-aging or longevity box, you're getting a multitude of products at a discount. So those are the products that I offer. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and help support the work that I do. It's really important that you use discount 5. I want you to save some money. It's all caps, discount, and then number 5, and you'll save $5 off any order. All right, with that, I'm going to switch to the market and show you the different slides and give you my take on what's going to be happening. in morning session for the United States on Monday. Okay. Now, the big takeaway for this is the negotiations in Pakistan did not go well between the United States and Iran. There was a 21-hour meeting that took place between the Iranians and JD Vance, Kushner, and Witkoff. There was no agreement, and it looks like, based on what JD Vance said in his press conference slash release, he said that they weren't will that the Iranians weren't willing to uh, forego their nuclear ambitions. Now the question is, what does this mean for the markets? Now, before he decided to leave the negotiations, Trump came out and stated that we're sweeping the strait. Now, ships are moving slowly through. There's not a lot of movement, but there is some movement. Some people say there's no movement, but there is some movement, according to podcasts that are investigating the actual path of ships through the strait through certain types of tracking software. So there's some movement, but it's not to baseline pre-war. And the United States mentioned that they moved two of their Navy ships through the strait. So there is movement, and we do seem to have some control of the strait. The concern is that there are mines. So there's some mine sweeping that's taking place by the United States at the moment. Now, how does this bode for the equity market and the oil market? Well, on the one hand, you have the United States and its military doing the sweeping, so that's positive. And the equity should go up and oil should go down because soon there should be more ships going through the strait without paying the toll. But on the other hand, because the negotiations failed, most likely the United States is going to use military tactics, maybe just hitting bridges and infrastructure and energy grid infrastructure, and or use the Marines or the airborne to take some of the islands. We don't really know what Trump is going to be doing. I suspect that he'll be just hitting infrastructure with the Tomahawks. Now, the thing is that they need to be reloaded on the ships. They need to go to port and reload and then come back. So I suspect that in the near term, you won't have a full wave of Tomahawk missiles coming in. You probably only have surface, I should say, limited surface to surface missile, and you probably will have air to surface missiles being shot by the United States into Iran, but limited. I don't think it's going to be a full assault. And because of that, I think that as long as the ships are moving through, the equity market is going to want to go up and the oil market will be stable or slightly drift down. So this SPY is the ETF for the S&P 500. That's a great way to trade the S&P 500. There is going to be, if you notice, there's this gap up. And usually when you have a gap up, especially this of this magnitude, it drifts up. Here's a gap up. And it started to drift up. Now, yeah, it could go up and then come back down a little bit and then march. It's possible if the strait keeps on improving with flow of tankers, then we might be seeing this drift up, even though there is still limited operations being conducted. So, like I was saying before, 660 was a resistance level. Well, bam, it went above and broke the resistance level. Now your next resistance level is at 700. Now, on Friday, it was trading at 679, almost 680, right? So the next resistance level is going to be 700. And it's probably going to get close to it and come back down and then hover and then jump. But this gap up is a very bullish sign. But there's a lot of unknown in the Middle East. You had a little bit of a gap up and then it came back down here. You see that? But this is a decent magnitude, which is similar to this case, which was May, which is 1 month after the sell-off because of the tariffs. Okay, so you may see a similar dynamic starting to take hold here. So 700 resistance. That would mean that the 650, the 660 is the new support level. There's another support level at 645 and a support level at 614. So if something really bad happens and there's a big sell-off, 645 for SPY and 614 as support levels. Okay? So keep that in mind. Okay. Now, oil. Now, what is interesting here is that anyone that has done trading before, I'm concerned that we're seeing the half of the head and shoulder. This is a shoulder, this is the head, and then another shoulder may be developing. So that would mean, if I'm right, what this will mean is that this will start to go down and it kind of mirror this movement, but go down, right? So this, if I'm right about the head and shoulder development here, this might be coming down and then it'll come back up. That means for it to come back down, that something positive will happen in the news. That's probably the ships moving through the strait. And it pops back up because of some sort of incident that takes place where the IRGC is fighting back, maybe hitting infrastructure, maybe there's casualties in the United States, it'll bounce up, right? So it's possible that if I'm right, then we're looking at oil coming back down to 87. All right. Now, or 90, around 87 and 90 might, and then might come back up, and that it might come back up to about 100. So if a head and shoulder is being developed here, this thing's going back down to 90 or 87, and then drift back up to 100 if there's some negative news. All right. We're talking multiple trading days. We're talking about 1, 2, 3. Let's see how many trading days to develop start developing the shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then comes back up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're looking at about 2 weeks to develop this shoulder that I'm talking about here. Now, it may not happen, but that's one possibility. So in the near term, if the head and shoulder is being developed, we may actually see oil drop. Now, if the United States starts just blasting away and the strait is clogged up again, then this shoulder thing is not going to be developed, and we're probably going to see oil closer to the 23% retracement. So let's take a look at that. So it's trading at 95.63, and there's a resistance level at the 23% retracement, which is 104. So in the near term, independent of potentially seeing a head and shoulder development, we'll probably have a trading range of 95 to about 104, resistance level 104. But if a head and shoulder is developing, we're looking at we're looking at a support level at 90 to about 87. Okay. Now, this trading range is really, you can see almost like, you can almost see these candles are big. I mean, there's big swings here, big news events. So in the short term, 94.84, technically, the 38% retracement to the 23% retracement is a trading range. But I'm thinking that it's very possible that we're seeing a head and shoulder. And once the head and shoulder develops, then it's going to rapidly go down. And we're probably looking at trading down in the mid 70 range if that head and shoulder is developing. Okay, so that's oil. Next is natural gas. Natural gas is continually drifting down, and typically it trades inversely with oil. And we're moving into the summer season, and natural gas should continue to fall. Now, if something really drastic happens, we may see a spike, but I see this drifting to 2.4. It's trading at 2.6. Now, TYD is an ETF that's the belly of the curve for the US Treasuries. So if US Treasury bond prices are going up, this ETF will go up, and yields for those treasuries will go down. Now, you can see that for the last several sessions here, that the actual bond market is actually improving. And that means the yields are slowly going down. So if things are, if we think, there's two ways to look at the bond market, I think, in this context. If inflation seems to be a sticky issue, then it's going to affect this belly of the curve, the 7 to 10 year, and the price of this will go down. So in the last few trading sessions, inflation considerations are not that concerning. Now, way back up here, back on 2/9, right? This is before the war. There was consideration, very concerned about inflation, right? Another way to look at it is that if the international community is looking for a safe haven, they're going to buy treasuries. If they're going to buy treasuries, then the 10-year yield is going to go down. And therefore, this is going to start to go up because the bond prices are bidding up. So this may be a sign of either less in expected inflation because of the energy crisis and or a flight to safety. Now, if you take a look at the equity market, is going up, and it started going up at approximately the end of March. Okay. Approximately. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 trading days. So 1 week, about 1 week of trading. All right. 1 week of trading where the equity market started going up. Now, in a perfect world, in a textbook perfect world with the economy, normally equities go up and then bond prices go down. So they're inversely related. Another way to look at it in the real world is that as equities go up, there are, because of investment policy statements, that a certain percentage of the portfolio, if new money is deployed into the equity market, you actually have to buy a certain percentage in bonds. And therefore, it bolsters up the bond market too. All right. So it's not really negatively one correlated asset class for the bond market. So equities are moving up, but also here we're seeing that the bonds for the 7 to 10 year are moving up. So that's starting to sh show to me that people are thinking that the inflationary part of the equation is becoming less of a concern. Now, if it starts to sell off again, it's possible, but it seems as though we're seeing the 10-year Treasury yields, getting closer and closer to, that lower four handle. I think it was trading at 4.3 on Friday. Let me check here. I think the 10-year yield was trading at 4.3. It should be trading below four. So if it's starting to move closer to four, then this will start to creep back up. If it's moving closer to 4.5, then this is going to start going down. Now, these moves aren't that big. I mean, look at, these candles in terms of actually dollars per share is not that huge. So you can put probably a decent amount of positions in and to try to get the appreciation of the movement of the candle. But the point here is that we're currently trading at 24.59 for this ETF for the belly of the curve. And the support level is going to be 24.24, and the resistance level is going to be 24.83. So it's a very tight range in terms of dollars per share. But you can see that it can, drop pretty significantly from, around 26.7 or so, all the way down to, 23.7. So that's, a big drop. And then it's starting to creep back up. Okay. Now, this curve here is showing the 30-year yield, the 10-year yield, the Federal Reserve rate, and the spread between the 30 and the 10. So the 30-year is trading at 4.9 and the 10-year is trading at 4.29. I was reading 4.3, so this is just like rounded. But what is interesting is the last few trading sessions, the yields have been going down. See that? Yields have been going down. And that coincides with this ETF for the belly of the curve for the 7 to 10 going up. Because this is based on price. So this right here does coincide with this yield going down. Now, the since the fall, right? Since the yields are starting to fall and stabilize, the 30-year seems to be stabilizing and the 10 seems to be continually reducing. But that coincided with this low point in the spread. And that meant that the 10-year is moving faster than the 30-year. All right. And the spread now is starting to get wider because the 10 is falling faster than the 30. So the 30 is relatively stable. It's the 10 moving. And this is part of the reason why you want to take a look at this belly of the curve and see this fluctuation to potentially get that appreciation. Now, the Federal Reserve is flat here. It's not moving with its federal funds rate. And the news that came out with CPI was a little bit hotter, so there was a little bit more inflation. The UMich data was showing that inflation expectations 1 year out has increased, and the unemployment rate is now at 4.3. So the Federal Reserve is on hold to lowering rates. They're more concerned about the inflation. Now, the data is showing, the economic data is showing that there's potentially an issue with inflation. But you're not seeing that so much with this curve. Because if that was really true, this should be going down. So it's either the data is overstating the real issue with energy causing some inflation, or the bond market is lagging. I suspect that there's more to the story with the economic data, and that the Federal Reserve, by not lowering rates, because if the Federal Reserve lowers rates, then the yields are going to go down and the price of the bonds are going to start to go up. So one might say, well, the Federal Reserve is going to lower rates, going to lower rates, but can they really lower rates if the unemployment rate's at 4.3 and inflation expectations at 4.7 and CPI is running at 3.3 or something like that? Don't think so. They're probably more concerned about the inflation because it's too close to the three handle than the two handle. They have a 2% target. Now, some people are saying, well, maybe we should just have a 3% target. Well, do you really want 3% inflation every year? That would really erode your wealth very quickly over a 5-year period or a 10-year period versus a 2 or 2.5% inflation target. So, you know, I just there's definitely, but at least the last few trading sessions, the bond market has been trading lower for yield. So the bond prices have been going up at the same time that equities are starting to creep upward. All right. So just kind of pay attention to that. Bond markets are finicky, right? And and their spreads and their different movements, speeds and movements, and what the Federal Reserve will do. Now, let's talk about volatility here. Recently, the volatility has dropped. You can see that the volatility throughout the beginning of this whole year has been increasing, 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 right? With a few, spikes all the way at 35 or in the 30 area. And then it dropped, right? This drop in VIX coincides with the movement upward with the equities. The equities are starting to go up because there's less concern. So now it's risk taking, and the VIX is the volatility of the market is starting to go down. Question is this the release valve? This is all because of negotiations with the Iranians via the Pakistanis. All right. But it failed. So the question is, will this spike? If this spikes, then we're going to start seeing the equity market starting to test that 660 again. And with that spike, we're most likely going to see this $95 a barrel oil be getting closer to 100. And if it breaks 100, the resistance level is going to be 104. So it really depends on what the Asian market how they react to the news that just happened last night. So VIX is going to be an important indicator in the futures market for the S&P 500 will be a real important indicator to understand where this is going to go. It's possible because of what happened in the news that this spikes, and then it might be breaking the head and shoulder thesis. But if it doesn't and it keeps the drifting down, it's very possible that the head and shoulder thesis holds, and there's going to be a drop down to 87, then come back up to about 95 or so, and then drop back down. And we're talking a fall from about 100 15 to 87, normally you can invert it, and that is going to be trading around, when everything's said and done, we may be seeing by next month trading in the 70 range if the head and shoulder thesis holds. So we have to stay tuned to see what happens in the Asian session, but that's my gut feeling here is that there's going to be some stress in the market. VIX is going to spike, and this is going to come back down a little bit. But again, I still have a target by year end of 740 to 780 for SPY. That equates to 7,400 to 7,800 for the S&P 500. Okay. So with that, that should be the last slide. Yep. With that, please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Help support the work that I do. I do these videos for free to help you kind of navigate through the tumultuous times and give you my perspective of what's going on. So please go to my store, get the great supplements that I offer, share the links, and if you could, please donate. You can donate through Stripe, PayPal, or buy me a coffee. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.